Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. If you are new and watching my video for the first time today, then welcome. Please feel free to go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can be notified of any future videos from me. Today we will be discussing a hot topic. It's not necessarily beauty and makeup like I usually do, but it is a hot topic and a discussion I want to have in which I want to bring some awareness to. Now, if you are a sports fanatic such as myself, then you are more than likely familiar with what's going on today with Cam Newton, who is the quarterback for the Panthers. Now, I am wearing this Carolina Panthers shirt today in honor of this topic, and no, I am not a Panthers fan. I do like Cam Newton. However, I am a Jets fan. So again, showing my support for Cam and wearing this shirt. And this is a shirt I actually bought for Super Bowl because I was obviously rooting for the Panthers in the Super Bowl 2016. So if you are living under a rock and are not familiar with what's going on today with Cam Newton, there was a situation in which a reporter by the name of Jourdan Rodrigue, who is a reporter for the Charlotte Observer, and there was a press conference that was held on Wednesday, October the 4th, and she made a statement along with asking a question to Cam Newton. Prior to the question being asked, she made a statement about one of his receivers, Devin Funchess, which if you're familiar with football, then you probably know who that is. And the statement that she had made was basically that Devin Funchess seemed to really embrace the physicality of his routes. And she then went on to ask her question. Now, prior to the question being asked, Cam kind of giggled and made a comment to say it's kind of funny to hear a female talk about routes, basically. And then he proceeded to go ahead and be professional and answer the question and say what he wanted to say. Now, that little statement was taken and blown way out of proportion, and if, like I said, you are familiar with the situation, then you know what I'm talking about, and if you aren't, I'm linked below. You'll be able to click on the link. There is a link to show the press conference. It's a little clip from the statement that was made, the question, and the response from Cam, which is what we're here to talk about today and what was blown out of proportion. And I will go ahead and have that link for you guys below. So if you have not already seen that, you can go ahead and click on that and you can see that for yourself. I've also gone ahead and taken the liberty to link another video from another YouTuber, a young gentleman who I came across earlier today, who has also brought light to the situation and addressed the topic, along with putting in some clips from some tweets that were discovered day or two, it might have been 2 days after the fact that this situation was blown up. And the tweets are from Jourdan Rodrigue, the reporter. And so I will also have that video link so you guys can actually see for yourself the tweets, and we will get to that in a minute. Now, I just wanted to say, first off, and again, this is my opinion. Everybody has their own opinion. I thought it would be fun to really do this and have this as a topic of discussion on my channel, just for the simple fact that, one, I am a female, and two, I'm a huge sports fan. I know a lot about sports. I've followed sports, most of my life. It's just something that my family, we embrace, we love, and so I know a lot about it. I watch a lot of shows. I watch ESPN constantly. I watch First Take. I watch The Herd with Colin Cowherd, which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with. I watch Skip and Shannon. Sometimes I watch Mike and Mike. So I'm very well aware with a lot of the things that are going on in the sports world because, I watch football, I follow basketball, I follow sports constantly. And so therefore, I thought it would be fun to go ahead and have a female come on board and of support of Cam Newton, because most of the women who have come forward and have taken their platform or used their platform to tweet or hold interviews, whether it's on, a podcast or whatever, to express the fact that they feel, he's a sexist and, he doesn't respect women. yet I haven't heard one female really support him or say anything in his defense. So since I'm not offended by what was said, and I think that it was blown way out of proportion, I just felt the need to come on board and make this little video for you all just to kind of address the situation so you can hear it from a female's point of view who's actually not offended and in support of Mr. Cam Newton, rather than a female who's ready to bash him and just pretty much slaughter his name all across the board, because most of the females are pretty much doing that. And so yeah, let's just kind of jump right into this. Now, first of all, first things first, when this came out, my boyfriend had brought it to my attention first. And he played the clip. He got word of it, I think, online through his phone or something. And he played the clip, and he's like, I don't really think, I don't think there's really nothing wrong with it. So then I watched it, and I'm like, I didn't really see anything wrong with it. I mean, from my point of view, because, again, I love sports, and I talk sports, and I know sports, and I understand sports. I watch it. I'm familiar with it. The plays, all of those things, the players, their names, their positions, I am familiar with all of that. So I took it the same way. I mean, to me, as a woman, yeah, it was a little funny and not in a disrespectful manner, but I thought it was kind of, I guess, more strange to hear a woman talk about routes. You don't normally hear females, which a lot of females there are, that know sports, that talk about sports, that are sports reporters, and so forth and so on. I'm not trying to take away from anybody by saying this, but I have never heard any female talk about routes. So yeah, it kind of was a little funny, like, oh, but more or less, I feel like he was just more like impressed. I didn't feel like he was taking a stab at her. I don't feel that he was trying to say, oh, you're a female. What do you know about routes? It was nothing of that sort. I feel like what he said was very innocent, and it was just blown out of proportion and just taken overboard. Now, here's my issue. During this time, this was on October the 4th. This was on a Wednesday. During this time, this was Sunday, there was a huge massacre shooting, which all of you, I'm sure, are familiar with. It's been all over the TV. It's made national headlines that there was this mass shooting in Las Vegas, Nevada. And so that had taken place on a Sunday evening, and that obviously overtook everything from, Monday, Tuesday. I mean, it's been all over CNN. It's been all over the internet. The sports shows have brought attention to the matter and have discussed it. And so here comes this small little situation in the sports world that takes place on Wednesday, and it just shuts everything else out that's going on in the world today, which I feel is a lot more important. And everyone is focused and just wanting to bring all their attention, which I feel is more or less negativity, towards Cam Newton and his comment and the situation at hand, which, again, I don't think it was that big of a deal. Now, I know the NFL went on after this was said because it was blowing up, obviously, and even for the reporter, she went and tweeted after the fact and made a comment about, he didn't apologize to her even after she caught up with him, I believe, when the press conference was over, and that the situation had gotten even worse, but that she chose not to speak on it because she wasn't going to allow him to keep her from doing her job. Which I don't think this man was trying to keep you from doing your job, okay? You said something to this man. It could have been anybody up there. It could have been Tom Brady. And do I think if Tom Brady said what Cam Newton said, that we would be sitting here criticizing him and ready to hang him? No, I don't. I don't believe that. I don't believe that the outcome would be the same for a quarterback such as Tom Brady. So the fact that it's Cam Newton, I feel like that is why there's so much controversy regarding the situation. I feel personally, from my own opinion, that he's constantly being criticized. I think he's great. I think he is a great quarterback. I think he's a great young black quarterback. I think he's amazing. I watched this man play. I rooted for him in 2015 when he led his team to the Super Bowl. They were the 4th team in NFL history to go 14-0. He's a leader, absolutely, in my book. So to hear people like Colin say he's selfish, he's not a leader, a person like that could never be a leader, for something like this to come out of his mouth, it's so expected. He's just basically like not a stand-up guy. I refuse to believe any of those things. I feel the media, and there's just so many people constantly just waiting for him to have a slip up so they can just attack him. And I think it's terrible. Because again, I as a woman, as a female, was not offended. I don't think he's sexist. I don't believe that he meant it in the manner that it's being taken. Now, once the NFL came out and they issued their apology statement to say, you know, basically like this is not acceptable, so forth and so on, the coach then came on board to issue an apology. This was obviously before Cam Newton took to, I believe, Twitter to make his formal apology, which was 2 days after the fact. I mean, this thing just blew up. It was just, I think people were attacking him on Twitter. It was obviously the topic of discussion first take. You know, they were just sitting there, I mean, criticizing him and dragging him through the mud for the comment that was being said. It was brought up on, you know, Colin's show, and Colin just was having a field day with it, and Christine shed light about it. But Christine had also made a very interesting comment in which, and if you're familiar or you're not familiar with Christine Leahy, she is the co-host on the show with Colin on The Herd, and she just happened to say, hey, like, you know, obviously he made a mistake, okay? He said something on a huge platform where he's in front of tons of people, and it was obviously taken the wrong way, even though that's not how he meant it. But the bottom line is now he's being held accountable for it, and he's being labeled that he's a sexist, and he doesn't respect women, which again, I don't believe that. But she did make a comment to say, the bottom line is, okay, yeah, he made a mistake, but if we're going to hold people accountable to those standards, then it needs to be the same across the board for everyone. And by everyone, which she didn't come out and say this, but come on now, the president of the United States, Mr. Donald Trump, okay? We all know that he himself has had a shady past with making some derogatory comments about women, and they have come across as being very sexist, okay? And he's not once ever issued an apology or taken any accountability. Now, I will also link below another video so you guys can see of a recording where Mr. Trump is heard saying a few inappropriate statements about a young female. And of course, there's a whole lot of other things that you can yourself do your history, research, homework, and research if you're interested to know, because I'm not going to shed too much more attention on the president. But, you know, just to say that if we're going to hold these people to these high standards and we're going to hold them accountable for their actions and we're going to label them this, that, and the other, when really you don't ever find Cam saying any type of derogatory comments towards females. You never had him in the past say anything or tweet anything sexist, but this one slip up comes out and it was so innocent and so quick, but it was blown out of proportion, and now every female in the world seems to hate this man. And I'm here to say, give him a break, okay? He made a mistake. Now, if that wasn't enough, he then went ahead, which I knew this was coming, because obviously how is that going to look if the NFL is coming in giving an apology, and then you've got your coach coming on board to give an apology and you don't say anything? That doesn't look very well. So I'm pretty sure, you know, he was talked to. Now, whether he decided on his own that this was something that needed to be done, whether he believed he should apologize or not, obviously it was a topic of discussion at one point or another, and he did go ahead and take to Twitter to issue his apology. Now, yes, he lost one sponsor over the situation. So he has more than one sponsor. He only lost a sponsor. And people are now ready to ridicule him and say that he's really not sorry. He's only sorry and he only apologized because he lost a sponsor. Because he mentioned the fact that he, you know, lost the sponsor in the apology, you know, the conversation video that he made to apologize to the public and to the women and to his daughters and so forth and so on. Again, I do not think that that has anything to do with it. He does mention in the apology video, which I will have that link below for you guys too if you haven't already seen that, that he didn't mean anything, but he didn't mean it for it to have been taken the way that it was taken across the board. He did not mean for it to come out that way. He didn't mean anything by it. He wasn't like laughing at her to like make fun. He was laughing to himself to just say like, wow, that is just, you know, to hear a female talk about routes. Again, I would have had the same response. You don't really hear females too much talk about routes. So yeah, it was a little kind of funny, but I don't think it needed to get the type of attention that it did. And I don't feel that he should be ridiculed for the remainder of time for what he has done. Now, moving forward, since this situation took place and she fell victim, and we are talking about Jourdan Rodrigue, who is the sports reporter, somebody took the liberty of digging into her past and went back to 2013, 2012, her Twitter account. Now, I don't know if these tweets had still existed and then she deleted them after. I'm not quite sure. But somebody dug up 3 tweets, which were her making light of a situation, well, making more fun of a situation with her father, where she's saying that she's riding in a vehicle and her father is making racist jokes and she was just enjoying it. And then there's another small comment where, and again, I linked the video so you guys can click on that to actually see for yourself the tweets that she issued. But there was another tweet where she actually typed and used the N-word, okay? So someone took the liberty of digging this up and bringing it to the media's attention. So obviously, not long after this whole Cam situation happened, that was put on a platform to say, hey guys, look what this reporter said, and look, it's right there in writing. She tweeted this out, you know, she's racist. Now, not to take away from the attention of what is going on with Cam and to give him a pass for those people that still feel that, you know, he was being sexist or it was inappropriate or it was wrong for him to have made the comment or laugh at the female reporter. But her situation after they shed light on it was basically like water under the bridge. Like, it was like, okay, she said this and here it is. And then, of course, obviously now that she's been found out, she takes to Twitter to issue an apology to anybody who she might have offended. And also to say that this was, you know, like, I don't know, 5-6 years ago and whatnot. That's not the point. The bottom line is you did say this, just like Cam said what he said, and everyone wants to ridicule him and drag him through the mud. Well, come on, let's talk about this. Why isn't this a topic of discussion all across the board? Why am I not hearing about this on every sports show? I mean, yeah, they like brought up a little comment about, you know, that there were some tweets, but it was not anything like what we're discussing with Cam Newton. I mean, you would have thought he committed a crime the way that he's being treated. So, yeah, I mean, for me, this is just a no. Like, I think that a lot of the women, the females, I'm sorry, this is my opinion and I'm entitled to that. I think you guys are going way overboard with this. I do not think this man is anything of what people are trying to make him out to be in the negative sense. Now, my boyfriend, he does have a nephew who is in the acting business. Him and his brother, they're twins. And one of them did a commercial with Cam Newton. And so I asked my boyfriend, like, you know, did you ask your aunt, like, you know, meeting him, like, how was that whole, and she said, you know what? He was a great person. Like, he was so nice, you know, very courteous, you know, humble, just, you know, a really nice guy. So for all these people that really don't know him or have never met him or just judging him based on the way he dresses, because he's constantly being ridiculed for how he dresses. Constantly I'm hearing about, oh, well, you know, we don't care about, you know, how you dress or what you wear. We care about, you know, your game and, you know, what's going on with you lately. Everybody's just ready to bash on him. But like I said, let's focus on the positive things that he has done. I think he's very well much a leader. I think he's very well a great quarterback. So I'm just tired of people trying to ridicule this man. Let him live. Let this be over. There are so many worse things in the world today that are going on that deserve more attention than the fact that Cam Newton laughed at a comment made by a reporter, which was so stupid that now all these groups are being formed and they want to make these little sly, slick remarks like, yeah, Cam, this is 2017. You know, we know women know football. We know women know sports. I'm a woman and I know it. And you know what's so funny is just a perfect example. And I really am a good sport. Every place that I've ever worked, there's always been males, men. They're all into sports, whether it's football, whether it's golf, whatever, college ball. You know, they're all into some kind of sport. When I come on board and I start talking to these guys that I work with about sports and we get to sitting there talking about, you know, players and positions and this, that, they get so impressed of my knowledge that they really give me the look like, whoa, like you just know so much about sports, because most women, especially in the jobs and the places that I have worked at in the past, don't really talk about sports. It's not a topic of discussion. Most girls nowadays, women, they like sports because their boyfriend likes it, or they have a favorite team because their boyfriend likes that team. I'm not saying every female does, but there's more females than not that really don't know much about sports. So men get excited and they are very intrigued and impressed when a woman not only talks about sports, but she actually knows what she's talking about. So, you know, at my last job, that was one of the things that a lot of the guys said, like, we're going to miss that. Like, whoever comes on board to take your place, I mean, who am I going to talk sports with? Who am I going to talk about the Lakers with? Who am I going to talk about LeBron to? Like, come on, your girl knows sports. So that doesn't offend me in any way. I'm not offended when I get those types of reactions from males when I talk about sports. I mean, the boyfriend that I'm with now that I met, when we first started talking, I was talking about First Take and the shows that and he had the same interest because he's a man and he's a big sportsman. And it was just like, whoa, like, you know First Take, you know Skip, you know Stephen A. Smith, your girl knows, okay? Because like I said, I follow sports. So I think this situation was just blown way out of proportion. I wanted to just shed light on my opinion. I think people need to move on and get over this and let this man live, because if it's not this, tomorrow it'll be something else he did. They're constantly watching him. They will never stop watching him. He will never be good enough in certain people's eyes, and so be it. It is what it is. But he is not a sexist, okay? Cam Newton is a wonderful man. He's out there to play ball. He's living life. He don't care what y'all think about how he dresses, okay? So again, please let this man live. If you have anything you want to say, please feel free to comment below. I will try to get back to all of you. Again, I will go ahead and link those videos I told you before so you can go ahead and see them for yourself. And I mean, I would like to hear your thoughts if you have anything to say, whether good or bad, that's fine. Everybody's free and entitled to their own opinion. So with that being said, I'm going to close out. And if you guys have not already pushed that subscribe button, please feel free to do so below. Thank you.